closely related to the A-Class hatch it's based on is the Mercedes-Benz GLA SUV. It's a small crossover that's the brand's first foray into the compact end of the market, and rivals cars such as the Audi Q3, the BMW X1 and the Infiniti QX30 with which it shares its underpinnings. Pricier versions of the Mini Countryman and less expensive models within the Range Rover of lineup also compete with the GLA. It's not as tall as some of its rivals, and even compared with the A-Class you don't sit a great deal higher up in the GLA. It feels broadly similar to Drive, too, which may place the Mercedes at a disadvantage for those buyers seeking something more obviously SUV-alike. More comfortable than the A-Class, far from perfect usefully, the GLA has a bigger boot and a wider opening than the A-Class, with an extra 140 litres of space, although it's not really a car you describe as being super practical. Gains in passenger headroom over its hatchback sibling are fairly negligible, and the relatively low roof means it's not particularly easier to get in and out of. What the GLA is, however, is more comfortable and refined than the A-Class, albeit not anywhere near as cosseting as its rivals. It's quiet on the road, although engine noise from the diesel seeps into the cabin. Standard equipment levels are generous and, for some buyers, the chunkier styling may give it an extra layer of appeal. 2 diesel and 3 petrol engines. Diesels prove popular choices for the GLA, with both the 200D and 220D using a turbocharged 2.1-litre motor producing 136 horsepower and 177 horsepower, respectively. Pair the lower-powered version with the optional 7G DCT dual-clutch automatic transmission for the best economy in the lineup. Mercedes claims an average of 67.3 miles per gallon, with CO2 emissions of 108 grams/km. Those who prefer petrol have a wider choice, with a range of turbocharged 4-cylinder power plants. The GLA 200 features a 1.6-litre producing 156 horsepower, while the GLA 250 pumps out 211 horsepower. Topping the range performance-wise is the Mercedes-AMG GLA-45. It too has a turbocharged 2.0-litre, but it's cranked up to deliver 381 horsepower to all 4 wheels, ensuring a 0 to 62 miles per hour time of just 4.4 seconds. All versions except for the GLA 200 petrol and GLA 220D diesels in trim or with manual transmission have the 4MATIC 4-wheel drive system as standard. Selection of 6 trim levels. It'll come as no surprise that the GLA's trim level structure is also closely aligned to the A-Class. In fact, behind the wheel, you'd be hard-pressed to tell which one you were sat in. So grade is only available with the lower-powered petrols and diesels, with the lineup fleshed out with Sport and AMG Align. Joining the GLA range in spring 2017 was White Art Edition, with a restricted range of white-themed color and trim combinations. The performance flagship AMG GLA-45 is effectively a standalone specification, although it was joined by the Yellow Night Edition version around the time of the range's late facelift. That 2017 makeover consisted of tweaked bumpers, revised grille designs, LED headlights and a few more chrome touches inside the GLA. The previously optional off-road package became standard fit, giving the crossover 30mm of extra ride height. Model for model, the GLA typically costs £2,500 to £3,500 more than the equivalent A-Class, with a larger boot, taller bodywork and a slightly more comfortable being the primary benefits. Mercedes-Benz GLA SUV model history. November 2013, A-Class-based GLA SUV range available to order for delivery in April 2014. Initial lineup consists of GLA 200 CDI, GLA 220 CDI 4MATIC and GLA 250 4MATIC, each in SE and AMG line specifications. Manual gearbox standard on front-wheel drive models, with a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic, the sole transmission for 4MATICs. June 2014, GLA 45 AMG 4MATIC available to order, complete with a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic gearbox. Power comes from a 360 horsepower 2.0-litre twin-turbo engine. November 2014, Sport replaces SE as the entry-level trim. July 2015, mechanically enhanced range available to order with deliveries from September. No visual changes, but the naming conventions of particular models are revised. Previous CDI diesels now have a simple D suffix. Previous GLA-45 4MATIC AMG renamed Mercedes-AMG GLA-45 4MATIC, with power increased to 381 horsepower. GLA 220D now produces 177 horsepower, while the GLA 200D is available with 4MATIC four-wheel drive. June 2016, entry-level SAE specification reintroduced in for GLA 200D models. Range expanded with the introduction of the GLA 200 petrol in SAE, Sport and AMG line specifications. January 2017, facelifted range with tweaked trim levels available to order for April delivery. White Art Edition and AMG GLA-45 4MATIC Yellow Night Edition join the range. Read the full Mercedes-Benz GLA SUV review to find out if this premium badged crossover is the most desirable in its segment. More powerful engines are better all-rounders. Astonishing AMG GLA-45 performance manuals available, but automatics better. While the Mercedes-Benz GLA engine range isn't as broad as the A-classes, there's still a breadth of performance on offer, whether you go for diesel or petrol power. Duo of diesels. There are two diesel options, both using a turbocharged 4-cylinder, 2.1-litre engine but with different power outputs. It's a clattery unit compared with more modern motors fitted to rivals, but plenty of sound-deadening material ensures it's relatively hushed in the cabin. First up is the front-wheel drive GLA 200D, producing 136 horsepower and 300 Nm of torque at just 1,400 revolutions per minute. Stick with the standard 6-speed manual for a top speed of 127 miles per hour and a 0 to 62 miles per hour time of 9.5 seconds. We'd pick the smooth shifting 7G DCT dual clutch automatic over the manual. Its top speed is identical, but the 0 to 62 miles per hour figure is shaved down to 9.1 seconds. Opt for the extra traction of the four-wheel drive GLA 200D 4MATIC, only available with the automatic gearbox, and while the 0 to 62 miles per hour time matches its front-wheel drive equivalent, top speed falls slightly to 124 miles per hour. That 7G DCT transmission is all that's paired with the GLA 220D 4MATIC, with outputs of 177 horsepower and 350 Nm of torque, again from 1,400 revolutions per minute. It's appreciably quicker with a 135 miles per hour top speed and a 7.7 second 0 to 62 miles per hour time. Pair of petrols. Turbocharging is also common to the 4-cylinder range of petrol power plants, which, like the diesels, have engine sizes that don't marry up to the numbers of the model designations. Packing a 156 horsepower 1.6-litre engine is the front-wheel drive only GLA 200. Big torque's 250 Nm, so lower than the diesels, but as it's on tap from 1,200 revolutions per minute, it makes it a flexible engine. Manual transmission is standard, resulting in a top speed of 134 miles per hour and an 8.4 second 0 to 62 miles per hour time. Opt for the twin-clutch automatic, and although the top speed remains the same, the 0 to 62 miles per hour sprint drops to 8.1 seconds. Topping the mainstream petrol lineup is the automatic-only GLA 250 4MATIC, with a 2.0-litre engine cranking out 211 horsepower and 350 Nm of torque from 1,200 revolutions per minute, making it significantly more brisk than you might imagine. It'll crack the 0 to 62 miles per hour benchmark in 6.6 seconds, before achieving a top speed of 143 miles per hour, but be aware it is a bit noisy as you ramp up the speed. High-performance Mercedes-AMG GLA-45 4MATIC. The statistics for the AMG GLA-45 make for impressive reading, packing a 381 horsepower twin-turbocharged 2.0-litre engine. Top speed is electronically limited to 155 miles per hour, but 475 Nm of torque at 2,250 revolutions per minute ensures that it scorches from 0 to 62 miles per hour in just 4.4 seconds. Although it's four-wheel drive, up to 50% of the torque can be sent to the rear wheels when required to help drive the car out of corners as quickly as possible. A 7-speed dual-clutch automatic is fitted. It's very tractable and efficient around town, although occasionally it hesitates to choose the correct gear when negotiating steep hills. Paddle shift controls behind the steering wheel enable you to change gear yourself if desired. With the optional sports exhaust system, the GLA sounds special, almost like a competition car, with an impressive repertoire of snap, crackle and pop sounds from the tailpipes when changing gear. The only criticism, and it's a very picky one, is that the car gathers speed in such an efficient and undramatic way that subjectively it doesn't feel quite as fast as you'd expect given the on-paper figures. GLA is an easy-to-drive SUV. Just not especially enjoyable formatic standard on most models. Driving the mainstream models in the Mercedes-Benz GLA range is a fuss-free affair. Inside trim it has the comfort suspension setup, which means it does a decent job of soaking up bumps, although as a trade-off there's a fair amount of body roll when cornering. Sport and AMG line versions get firmer suspension settings and the car feels much more agile as a result. Although the ride is less forgiving in these specs, it's certainly not uncomfortable and wouldn't spoil the car as a day-to-day proposition. As for the GLA's off-road abilities, clearly it's no Land Rover. Given its slow roofline and relative lack of ground clearance, it looks as though it would as useful as slippers on a Snowden expedition on anything but asphalt, and the reality is it'll falter on anything other than the simplest off-road terrain. Its front overhang is too long to be genuinely capable here. It will tackle muddy roads and larger bumps well, though, especially with the off-road kit installed. That off-road package was available at extra cost for 4MATIC models from summer 2014, and standard following the facelift in 2017. It increases the ground clearance by 30 mm and makes a useful difference to the car's abilities. When activated via a button on the center console, the off-road mode changes the traction control, gearbox and four-wheel drive systems settings and activates a display on the multimedia screen to let you know how much the front wheels are turned and how much suspension travel is being used. It also includes a downhill speed regulator, DSR, function via which can take the car down steep slopes at a driver-dictated speed set via the cruise control stalk. The downside is that the off-road pack the GLA does feel more wallowy on the road. Firm but fast AMG GLA-45 with all the power you might expect the GLA-45 AMG to be rather a wild ride, but in fact it's anything but. There's a huge amount of grip and traction while cornering quickly is a stable, planted and drama-free experience. It's very impressive, although if you're looking for an exciting driving experience it has to be said that there are cheaper, less powerful hot hatches that offer a bigger fun factor for far less money. As a performance-oriented crossover, there's not a lot of competition. With the standard suspension setup there's very little body roll and the GLA-45 feels not at all like an SUV. It's very similar to the A45 AMG hatchback but with a slightly higher driving position. After all, that's exactly what it is. As an option it's possible to specify the car with firmer AMG performance springs and dampers. It feels a little more agile and playful in the spec, although it's still extremely stable with huge levels of grip. The large, high-performance brakes deserve special mention. They're powerful, progressive and inspire plenty of confidence. As for off-road ability, that's not really what this car is about. It's a blacktop-only machine. Virtually identical to the A-Class, doesn't feel as special as larger Merc's detail changes as part of 2017 facelift. The GLA's dashboard and cabin in general is virtually identical to those of the A-Class and CLA models. A slim color screen in the center of the dashboard takes care of the multimedia system, sat-nav and other functions and is easily controlled via a rotary dial behind the gear lever. You do sit higher than you would in the regular A-Class, although the driving position certainly isn't as lofty as that of most other small SUVs. An electronic parking brake rather than a conventional handbrake is used, allowing space to be freed up for cup holders and storage space for small items. Like other Mercedes models, automatic versions use a column shift stalk behind the steering wheel to put the car into gear rather than a selector lever on the transmission tunnel. 2017's minor update ushered in some new chrome trim, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto functionality, along with some different seat fabrics. Sporty modifications for AMG GLA-45 body-hugging sports seats, plenty of red stitching and aluminium trim along with bright red seatbelts all combined to give the AMG GLA-45 sportier ambience than regular models. The flat-bottomed steering wheel nods to Mercedes racing pedigree, while the metal gearshift paddles tucked behind it are a good size and easily accessible while the wheels turned. As an AMG model, the GLA-45 has an oblong gear selector on the transmission tunnel rather than the column shift stalk. Otherwise it's business as usual if you've been in any other A-Class family members, with the same instruments, although there's the addition of a lap timer function within the display menu. Ride quality trumps the A-Class. But rival SUVs are still superior. Very stiff settings for GLA-45 in the main. The Mercedes-Benz GLA-Class isn't a particularly comfortable car compared to rivals. Its ride quality doesn't ever seem to settle down, despite its 30mm taller ride height, but it is a more supple proposition than the regular A-Class hatch. On the plus side, there's very little road noise, and once up to speed, engine noise is very hushed too. The driving position is higher than the regular A-Class, although it's not particularly elevated compared with most other SUVs. The GLA is still a relatively low car overall. Its slow roofline means front headroom is virtually identical to the A-Class hatchback. There's a little bit more headroom in the rear, although especially tall passengers may still find their heads brushing against the ceiling. Opting for the electrically adjustable seats allows an excellent range of adjustment for both driver and passenger. Stiffer AMG GLA-45. Although the AMG GLA-45 is more comfortable than the AMG A45 as the ride quality is a little more forgiving, it's still firm, but not to the point that you'll be left aching after long journeys. The deep-sided seats are electrically adjustable to help establish a comfortable driving position. They're comfy over a short journey, but longer trips could leave your lower back slightly numb. One of the easier Mercedes ranges to understand. 6 generous trim levels to ponder. Options are plenty, so choose wisely. Although the GLA trim hierarchy is relatively simple, a wide range of options and packages creates thousands of equipment possibilities. Those standard trim levels are, say, Sport, AMG Line, White Art Edition, Mercedes-AMG GLA-45 and Mercedes-AMG GLA-45 Yellow Night Edition. Standard Mercedes-Benz GLA SUV equipment. Entry point of the GLA range is, say, but cast aside concerns that this is some kind of hairshirt special, it's decently appointed. Its exterior is marked out by 17-inch 10-spoke alloy wheels, eye-gloss black roof rails, halogen headlamps, front fog lights, darkened rear privacy glass, a reversing camera, silver and chrome look grille bars and off-road comfort suspension. Once aboard, you'll notice the Audio 20 multimedia system, including Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity, aircon, keyless ignition and Artico faux leather upholstery. Next up is Sport, distinguished by its 18-inch 5-spoke alloys, aluminium roof rails, dual exhausts with chrome trim and rain-sensing wipers. Inside there's an enlarged screen for the multimedia system, additional illumination for cubbies and vanity mirrors, and dual-zone climate control. Looking even more purposeful is AMG Line, with a kit roster that includes 19-inch AMG 5-spoke alloys, a pumped-up bodykit, perforated front brake discs for increased power, and run-flat tires. The front seats have been replaced, but body-hugging Sports once trimmed in Artico and Dynamica microfiber upholstery with contrasting red stitching, brushed stainless steel pedals with rubber studs and aluminium applique rims. More of a curio is the White Art Edition, introduced in 2017 and based on the AMG Line trim, but is visually arresting thanks to a gloss black exterior detailing, including the wheel finish, parking sensors, LED headlights and optional decal packages. Within the cabin, the multimedia system's bolstered with Garmin Map Pilot satnav, while there's also an Artica trim dashboard top and 12-color ambient lighting. Towards the range's summit is the Mercedes-AMG GLA-45 4MATIC. There's no doubting it looks suitably snarly thanks to a different design of 19-inch alloy rim, a matte titanium grey grille and an even beefier bodykit. The brakes are uprated, too, a fact highlighted by the caliper's red finish. Changes inside are few, though. There are different faces for the instruments, AMG performance front seats that are also heated, and red seatbelts. Not for those demanding discretion is the flagship Mercedes-AMG GLA-45 4MATIC Yellow Night Edition. In layman's terms, that means the exterior is graced with an aerodynamic package including a large rear wing, 20-inch black alloys with a yellow rim, complementing further yellow highlights elsewhere on the coachwork. There are a few yellow accents inside, too, but the bigger news are the electric front seats with memory function, a panoramic glass roof and the Harman Kardon surround sound speaker system. Optional Mercedes-Benz GLA SUV accessories. Mercedes has long favored offering customers a colossal range of options, and the case remains so with the GLA. While many of them can be added individually, it's the equipment bundles that make more sense. Executive equipment line, any say, Sport or AMG Line model can be fitted with this pack, which includes Garmin satnav, heated front seats and parking sensors. Premium equipment line, for Sport and AMG Line trims, go for this option bundle if 12-color ambient lighting, automatically dimming rear view mirrors, electrically folding door mirrors, sat-nav, heated front seats, LED headlamps and parking sensors all appeal Premium Plus equipment line, for Sport and AMG line trims, same as the Premium Package Plus electrical adjustment for the front seats, keyless entry and a panoramic glass roof Premium equipment line, for Mercedes-AMG GLA-45 only, as it already features a higher level of equipment. Its package is different and includes electrically adjustable front seats, keyless entry, a panoramic glass roof and a Harman Kardon surround sound system, all of which are standard on the Yellow Night Edition exclusive package. For AMG line and Mercedes-AMG GLA-45 trims, luxury is bolstered with leather upholstery in a range of 3 colors, four-way lumbar adjustment for the front seats and Artico faux leather on the dash AMG exclusive package. For AMG line and Mercedes-AMG GLA-45 trims, similar to the regular exclusive package except for the addition of red seatbelts and perforated black leather seats with red visible through the holes night package, available on AMG line models. This option includes black painted 18-inch alloy wheels, rear privacy glass and black exterior detailing AMG night package, exclusively for the Mercedes-AMG GLA-45. This bundle is similar to the regular night package with the additions of matte black 19-inch alloys and black elements for the extensive bodykit AMG aerodynamic package, again, exclusively for the Mercedes-AMG GLA-45. This bundle consists of black finished bodykit extensions with a larger rear wing, front splitter and deflectors on the outer edges of the front bumper. Lane tracking package includes blind spot warning and lane keeping assist to help steer you between the white lines. Driving assistance package comprises of the lane tracking package plus adaptive cruise control to maintain a preset gap to the vehicle in front and pre-safe which monitors for situations ahead and prepares the brakes in anticipation of a likely emergency stop. 5-star score in the Euro NCAP crash tests. One of the safest compact SUVs on sale. Range of additional safety kit available. The form book was adhered to when Euro NCAP crash tested the Mercedes-Benz GLA and rated it as a give-star car for safety. Various active safety systems are available for the GLA. As standard, it's fitted with attention assist, which monitors the driver's steering inputs and sounds a warning if they show signs of drowsiness, and collision prevention assist, which primes the braking system if a collision appears imminent. This can be optionally upgraded to Collision Prevention Assist Plus, which can apply the brakes automatically if absolutely necessary in an emergency. The system operates at speeds from as low as 12 miles per hour to as high as 124 miles per hour. Distronic plus adaptive cruise control, where the GLA autonomously varies its speed to keep a constant distance from traffic in front, is a further optional extra, as is a blind spot monitoring system. On the road, a sophisticated escape, electronic stability control, does an excellent job of keeping the car safe and stable when cornering. The update in 2017 saw the off-road package become standard fit. This means hill descent control and the additional 30 mm of ride height on all models. Passenger space isn't as good as rivals, but at least the boot space is on par. A more upright tailgate would have boosted practicality. Practicality-wise, the Mercedes-Benz GLA is reasonable, although it's not the car's strongest suit. The boot isn't enormous, its volume partly compromised by the sloping angle of the rear window, but it is larger than that of the A-Class hatchback, 481 litres versus 341, and compares favourably with rivals such as the Audi Q3 and BMW X1. It also includes a 12-volt socket and useful tie-down points as standard. An extra 60 litres of boot volume can be freed up by adjusting the angle of the rear seat backs, which can be placed in a more upright position if required. It's also possible to fold them down in the usual way to expand luggage space to 1,235 litres of overall volume. Usefully, when the seat backs are folded down, the load area is almost completely flat. Folding down the middle armrest in the rear seats reveals a small through-load hatch for long but narrow items, fitted as standard to all GLA models. There's also a further 12-volt socket behind the front seats. The rear doors open to a wider angle than the A-Class, which makes access easier when fitting child seats. It's worth noting that the optional panoramic sunroof reduces headroom a little for tall rear passengers.